guys, welcome back to Texas Young Guns, and today is our review of our first state park visit, and it was wonderful.
We visited Martin Dies Jr. State Park, located in Jasper, Texas.
Now, Lana and I are trying to expand our local places that we go and visit with our RV. We did some online research, Facebook groups, forums, etc., and there was a lot of hype about Martin Dies, so we decided to visit.
So we had arrived after hours, and it was pitch black dark, not necessarily late, just dark. So we had no idea where we were going, what we were driving through.
Pretty much, it was pitch black, and we had a map.
And a map. That was it.
The
So
park was already closed.
yes. I probably would not recommend, if you've never been there, to arrive at night. That was the only option for us, just because it can be a little tricky maneuvering and backing into your spot, because for the most part the sites are not level and a little bit tricky to get into. But we had arrived that night not really knowing. We knew we were in the woods, but that's about as much as we knew.
Yeah, there's very little lights in the camping areas, maybe on the main roads, but not the camping areas. So trying to hook up at night and get into your spot's a little tricky. I mean, it is a state park atmosphere. You're not in a standard RV park per se. So
Right, and we were there during off season, so there wasn't very many other people camping, which would help contribute to, I guess, more light being in the parks. But we were there during off season, so we were able to, it took both of us kind of working together to get into our spots. And the next morning when we woke up, we just had to go back down to the park headquarters, and we checked in before 9 a.m. Pretty easy, just letting them know we were here and that we had arrived, and they gave us some little tickets that we had to put on our tow car.
permits.
That we had to put on our car and our RV.
This was also the maiden voyage for towing Scooter.
Yes,
So
it was.
if you remember, I posted a couple videos back installing the towing stuff for Scooter, and this was our maiden voyage. So we didn't have to bring Scooter on this trip, but we chose to, just to test out the system, and we figured it'd be easy going, so it worked out well in that regard. Now, like we mentioned, it was pitch black, so we really didn't know what to expect without any daylight. But when we woke up the next morning and explored outside, man, this park is absolutely beautiful. It's stunning, the views. You're pretty much surrounded by a lake slash riverways, many trees. It is an absolutely beautiful park. It lived up to the hype on all those groups that we mentioned that we visit and follow on Facebook and forums. The park is beautiful.
Yeah, this state park is located on Dam B.
Now, being that this is a state park, if any of you have stayed in a state park, you kind of know what to expect, but the sites aren't going to be perfectly level. This is actually the first site where we had to level up the back so much that the wheels were off the ground. Luckily, I had bought oversized chokes for their front wheels.
Our site, we stayed in site 207. I would say if you are interested in going to this state park, it's absolutely huge. We actually drove around in our tow car because it's kind of split into two parts. I would say to do your research as far as where you'd like to stay, if you're more interested in a lake view site, or if you want a shaded site, you can get onto the Texas Parks and Wildlife website and just do your research about what site you might be interested in.
Now, I actually saved a map from our trip because, as she mentioned, we stayed in site 207, which is actually on the hen house side. And there's also the Walnut Ridge side. And Walter is going to be on this video. So to show you the map, so I don't know how this is going to turn out, but there's two sides here. The hen house side is on the southern side of 190, Highway 190. And there's also the Walnut Ridge side. Our side was here. If you were to enter...
It's kind of in my face, I mean.
If you were to be on the Walnut Ridge side, you would have to enter on the other side of the freeway. So there's actually two different gates.
Just over here getting whacked in the face
We-
by a map.
We did take Scooter and visited the other side, and man, there's some spots that are better than others, but I really don't think you can go wrong at Martin Dice. All the spots are beautiful, tons of space between you and your neighbor.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're definitely not like crowded in.
Yeah, that's one of the beauties I think of a state park in this regard is the space you have is huge. I mean, they're definitely not trying to cram people in there. So
Yeah, and they have sites for pretty much everything. They have RV sites, they have tent sites, they have sites specifically for smaller trailers, and they have sites for fifth wheels. I mean, they have little cabins you can rent. There's so many options of places.
now
you
they
can
do
stay.
have sites specific for smaller trailers and camping that like our RV wouldn't fit in. So you do have to know that ahead of time. But their website is pretty good. They've upgraded a lot of their sites to 50 amp. So that's good for you 50 ampers out there. So most state parks I think probably only have 30 amp, but this one's upgraded a lot. So in that regard, it was good.
Now, like I mentioned, we were here during the off season in the month of December, so it was quite chilly. I would not partake in swimming in the waters, but there are lots of activities you can do, especially if you go during the warmer months. Now, since we were there during the off season, we did not do any water activities, but there were lots of trails, and you can hike or bike the trails. We chose to bike them, and they were pretty easy, even for me, who is not the most athletic person. But they were a nice bike trail. We even saw some little deer frolicking off in the distance. And so that was a good activity. There's lots of good places where you can kind of pull your bike off, or if you're walking, you can stop. There's benches and you can get some nice views of the lake.
Oh, and the bridges. So they have bridges that go over Danby and the waterways, and they're very picturesque, very cool to hang out. Lots of fishing spots, if that's what you're into. A lot of catfishing out there.
There's even fish cleaning stations.
Oh, yeah.
Surrounded
Yeah, that's
throughout
right.
the park.
Mm-hmm.
There is one other thing this lake is kind of known for is canoeing and kayaking. Now, there were brave souls out there doing it. However, I was not one of them.
Well, it warmed up a little bit during the day, I guess. But if you fell in the water, you'd be
That
a
would
little chilly.
be a bad camping trip.
But
But we watched people do it, and we definitely want to go back. And during the warmer months, I can see that that is something we would do.
So overall, guys, we're a little worried now at this point because our first state park was such a wonderful experience that it's kind of like what we mentioned before with Stella Mar and Lake Livingston, KOA. I wonder now if this has ruined us for the rest of our state park visits because now we have high expectations. This park is beautiful. The scenery is beautiful. Just the moss on the trees and the water you're surrounded by and the tons of shade. And man, you could really make a whole week in the summer, especially if you have a family.
Oh, yeah. It definitely gives you that feeling like you are away from everything. You know, the hustle and bustle of like a big city or, you know, just your crazy busy lives, especially here in the month of December, holiday season. It's just a good place to get away and recharge. You know, there's no TV, there's no internet, so you're just forced to just kind of get out there and just be one with nature and kind of reset and recharge your batteries.
And this state park delivers a big way in that regard. You're definitely in the woods. You have the scenery, the nature experience with your children, and it's a wonderful place to go. So, Lana, we have to ask the question, how many Texas stars would you give this park?
Well, this is a little bit difficult because I don't have anything to compare it to. However, we have stayed at some national parks before, but never a state park. So I guess I'm going to play it safe, and I'm going to give it a strong 9.
Strong 9. Probably could have gotten a 10 if we had a little more experience.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to compare it to, so...
Might have to do a follow-up video on this one when we have a few more years under our belt. Just because as nice as it was, we'll definitely be back. So, and we'll have to visit in the summertime too.
Yeah, I definitely want to visit during the summertime. Probably one thing that we didn't mention that it may have lost a star on for me is its boat ramps.
Oh yeah, the boat ramps are kind of grown over. Danby's not really a lake that you would bring a big boat on anyways, just because it's
Mm-mm.
shallow in a lot of areas. So it's really for duck hunters or
We
catfish.
did see lots of duck hunters in their camo boats and their camouflage, and they really do promote hunting on that lake.
Mhm. Yep.
So we heard lots of shots, but not anything that would be
I
unsafe.
mean, it's
just,
December, I mean,
yeah,
come on.
you're in the heart of duck season.
in Texas, so
And deer season.
you're gonna hear some guns, you're gonna hear some hunting. It really didn't disturb anything. It was really only in the mornings and the evenings.
Mhm.
So, well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends. Guys, this is most likely the last video we're gonna post before Christmas. So, Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. We hope that you enjoy all the time with your family and your friends, and that Santa brings you everything that you want.
See you on the next video. Bye.
Bye.
And Walty says Merry Christmas too.
Merry Christmas.